So, how has the automation market changed over the last 5 years?
Wow, that's a question. Massively and not at all. Let me explain that. So, automation of all types has been around for decades. In fact, physical automation, has been around for thousands of years. Pulleys and levers have been around since ancient Greek times. Automation in terms of replicating or emulating is probably the right word. What humans do in an office environment has only been around really since about the mid 2000s. Robotic process automation, which for those people that don't know has nothing to do with robots or physical robots anyway. Although when we first started, we did get questions as to how do you stop the robots pressing the screen too hard. We just have to explain it's not really that type of robot. So robotic process automation was actually invented in 2002 by Blue Prism, which is one of our competitors based in the UK. And the name RPA was invented by Pat Geary, who was the CMO of Chief Marketing Officer of Blue Prism, and by an analyst called Phil Furst. They came up with the acronym of RPA. But really, the market didn't really start to take off until about 2016, early 2016, 2017, I suppose. And what's happened since then is that organizations have realized that if they can remove the what we term as the boring, mundane, repetitive, mind-numbing activity of moving information through and between systems, which is what we humans tend to do in the office, then it provides a lot of benefit to the company. What we didn't realize, and this is really the change that's happened over the last 5 years, is that the value of automation isn't anything to do with the technology, isn't anything to do with the value to the business. The value of automation is the value of the individual human worker. Our chief exec and co-founder, Daniel Dinez, uses the word joy. Now, who the hell uses the word joy when they're talking about work? But if you remove all of the repetitive activity that you need to do your job, opening spreadsheets and pulling information from different applications and logging into multiple things and opening documents and reading what's in them and shuffling that stuff across, which, to be frank, is what a lot of people's work is. If you remove that, then it allows you to do the more strategic, more human work. And one of the things that I've been talking with Craig Leclerc about, of Forrester, we can talk about him in a bit, is about how work is changing so it becomes much more human-centric. He describes it as basically there are certain personas, and I think there are about 12, but he's reduced that down to 3 buckets in his new book. Bucket number 1 is the world in which you and I and the majority of people that are going to be listening to this or watching this podcast, and we are the digital elite. And that makes it sound grander than we are, but it's the people that are actually driving the activity in IT and in business. So we are the digital elite. The second group are the what you was describing, the squeeze middle for British politicians means something different, but the squeeze middle are those people who do their jobs on a day-to-day basis, and they feel under pressure, and they're working in offices. We talked a bit about the industrial revolutions. It's the people that work in the office that aren't part of the management, aren't part of that moving business forward, but they're just the worker bees basically. And then you have the third tier, which is would nominally be seen as the substrata. This is the jobs of working with your hands. That could be working in healthcare. It could be working in farming, whatever it might be. And actually, one thing that in that conversation that I think is going to happen potentially is that we're going to see a switch in the way that people think about these jobs,